Yeah. As told you yesterday, we have reached agreement on most of the issues. And those agreements are agreements that we will now start implementing, starting from the next working day, which is Monday. As I also told you, the Nigerian Medical Association is leading this negotiation. We have their affiliate associations coming over. And this is in the spirit of the fact that the Medical Association is the father of all the affiliate associations. So we have dealt with a lot of the issues, and I can just run through them one after the other. On the NARD side of NMA presentation on NARD side, we dealt with the issue of non-payment of salaries of some house officers on the platform of the IPs. We also dealt with the issue of non-payment of Medical Residency Training Fund, MRTF, outstanding for 2020 and the current 2021 allocation. We also did the non-payment of salaries of some house officers, of some officers on residents on IP's platform. We had non-payment of arrears on consequential adjustment of minimum wage, abolition of bench fee, delay in payment of hazard allowance or review of the hazard allowance, non-payment of skipping arrears for 2014, 2015, 2016, withdrawal of a circular from Office of Head of Service, removing house officers and NYC doctors from the scheme of service, non-payment of salaries of resident and locum doctors on GIFMIS, and the issue of their migration to IPPIS, non-payment of outstanding COVID-19 special allowance for 2020 for some medical doctors in government clinics and hospitals. The issues raised by Mendican and MedSabam, almost same, but was just a little differentiation. But in the main, they were asking for withdrawal of a circular from salaries, incomes, and wages, which removed doctors in the academia from the CONMES scale, removal of that same circular, which removed some consultants that had letters of appointment from their respective teaching hospitals that had either to place them on CONMES scale. These are the issues. And we reached agreement on all of them. So we have prepared a memorandum of understanding based on these agreements. On issue of house officers, the Registrar of Medical and Dental Council had explained that as of yesterday, he has about 2,800 house officers on his platform, because by the new house officers training scheme, the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria does the placement of house officers and manage them in terms of their remuneration for the 1 year of internship. Therefore, it was not an issue that should have cost us too much headache, because the 114 officers mentioned by the NMA, NARD were suspected to be those who had not had their revalidation for the month done. Because the system is that on the 15th of every month, you must revalidate your stay in the housemanship program. So NARD is expected now to submit list of those 114 officers for further verification, and after further verification, that they are genuine house officers and that their particulars, that their IP's particulars and BVN are in order, they will be paid in September with the outstanding arrears of the months that have not been paid. Residency Training Fund outstanding for 2020 and 2021. Agreement was again reached after the Budget Office of the Federation has explained that in the 2020, the outstanding to be paid was 617 million and 429,121 naira. Again, there's some reconciliation to be done here because the 2020 was done with some errors. Some people who are not supposed to benefit from the fund got money. And because of that, the number of genuine people that were not paid also came to about that same 1-2 more persons. So some reconciliation are being done. Some monies are being returned because the people themselves have agreed to return the money. So we have given a timeline for this reconciliation to be done. And for the 2021, the money approved by government is 4.802 billion naira. This money, like I explained earlier, was contained in the supplementary 2021 budget, which the President signed on the eve of his departure to the UK for the meeting in the UK and medical check. So between that time and now, that it became a money law, the funds have now been sourced and has gotten from the CBN to the Budget Office, and from the Budget Office, we expect it to be processed. And the government side have given an undertaking that they will process in 1 week. And therefore, the meeting agreed, everybody agreed, that by Friday, oncoming week, which is 27, that institutions, residents, who have started getting their own payments. I think it's about 542,000 per person or so. We had the issue of non-payment of consequential adjustment on minimum wage. This is an issue that is cross-cutting in the health and the educational sectors. Both were affected by the projection of the 160 billion done in 2019, which fell short of the people that were to benefit from this. The meeting agreed that we need to put this to rest, and therefore Budget Office of the Federation should start from the 2021 service-wide votes and start paying. And if we have any leftovers, they will be rolled over into the 2022 budgets. This affects so many unions in the educational and health sectors: ASU, NASU, SANU, NARD, Mendekan, Medsaban, Yohesu, and every other person. So So it's a cross-cutting thing, and we all agree that it should be treated holistically. Abolition of bench fee, there was evidence to show that it's only in one teaching hospital that there's a report of that fee being charged. However, the meeting said a circular had been sent since more than 1 month ago by the Federal Ministry of Health to all our tertiary institutions. So if there's anybody who had paid since after the issuance of this circular, you make an application for refund and you get your refund immediately. Hazard allowance delay, everybody agreed that the discussion is still ongoing, and government wants to speed it up. We agreed with an NMA position to us that they don't want to discuss holistically anymore as an association, that they have their own peculiarities that are not same with other health workers. We agreed, so we are going to do 2 meetings, one for them, NMA and affiliates, and one for Johesu. Well, we are taking the meetings concurrently so that we don't run into troubled waters. And we are starting off next week. NMA made an excuse that they have their annual general committee meeting coming up in Benin next week. So we have pushed their own meeting onto first week of September. Non-payment of skipping arrears for 2014, 2015, and 2016. Again, this is cross-cutting for all in the health sector. And we agreed that because of that, we also handle it holistically while we await the court judgment. Withdrawal of Head of Civil Service circular removing house officers and NYC doctors from the scheme of service. Meeting resolved that the NMA should submit a written position to point out what they regard as the anomaly in the circular. And this should be done for onwards transmission to the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. And the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, his officers are here, his permanent secretaries. They will have a look at the circular with the inputs given to the circular by the NMA and process it to either the council and establishment or handle it administratively if the issues are not such of fundamental nature, so that the circular will be further clarified. We have agreed on 2 months for this. We also agreed that the migration of doctors on GIFMIS from some university hospitals, particularly University College Hospital Ibadan, University Calabar Teaching Hospital, and University of Port Harcourt, who had recruited some medical personnel, including doctors, and placed them on the GIFMIS, and were unable to pay them when the GIFMIS platform was tampered with, that we can resume. When we verify those people, they can be there. The recruitment done perfected in order to migrate into the IP's platform. In this wise, the Head of Civil Service of the Federation have granted waiver and revalidation to an old waiver for University of Port Harcourt and waivers for the University College of Ibadan and Calabar. But this is not without a reprimand for the chief medical directors who have flouted government regulation by recruiting people into the service without fulfilling the requirements of the Eastern Circular on this. We also have the issue of hazard allowance. Doctors in medical clinics and hospitals did not benefit from that 2020 payment. Ministry of Health have compiled such a list, and will say that this list should be forwarded back again to the Federal Ministry of Finance. And for doctors in university clinics and the rest of them all, we say they should route their own requests through the Ministry of Education, which is their parent ministry and their employer. On the controversial issue of withdrawal of National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission circular, removing doctors in the academia from commerce, removing also some consultants, medical consultants, who are also doubling as honorary consultants, lecturers, from the commerce to the CONUAs. Commerce is for medical doctors in hospitals and clinics. CONUA is for academics in the universities. They requested for this, and we have, even before they made the request, treated some of the aspects, one leg of it, by obeying the court order already gotten by them. And in the spirit of dialogue, we say further discussions will continue with the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission. As a matter of fact, before this meeting, we had, after conciliating them 2 weeks ago, referred them to the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages. However, NMA has undertaken that they will get the 2 members of MedSabam and the association to do an out-of-court settlement by standing down the matter in the industrial court, withdrawing it until we finish the negotiation. We gave a time for the negotiation that the committee is empaneled. We have empaneled the committee with NMA leading, and to meet with Salaries, Incomes and Wages, Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Health, and others in the team. The first meeting, inaugural meeting, is for Tuesday 31st. And we are hopeful that this meeting on this technical committee will give us suggestions on how we can handle that issue. Before now, before yesterday meeting, we have had certain agreements with NARD, which we didn't go into again yesterday, but for purposes of our discussion yesterday, we are putting it in our MoU, and that's the issue of state governments. Because health is on concurrent list, there is no way the federal government will start bullying states on the issue of, one, domestication of medical residency training program by their various states as assembly and government, and the issue of medical residency training fund. We also have the issue of non-paid payment of COVID-19 allowances by some state government, and the issue of also consequential minimum wage adjustment. Therefore, we have before now made contact with the Governors Forum on these matters, and we are waiting for us as Minister of Labor to talk with the Governors Forum and impress on them the need for this to be done. The the medical residency training program and the accompanying fund is already in the Act, MLTL Act, which the federal government had signed. So we will impress it on them that as part of strengthening the health system so that they are not starved of specialist doctors, that there is an urgent need and critical need for them to adopt that. This will also help us to stem the issue of brain drain. People leaving young doctors leaving the country in droves, as the federal government cannot employ everybody, and all the hospitals, tertiary hospitals, are not federal government owned. As we even encourage the state governments to pay more attention to tertiary health and secondary health. So these, in the main, are some of our agreements. And I don't think you need some questioning anymore, because we've done so. But we now expect the NMA and NARD to use this as a plank to consult their members with a view to calling off the strike urgently, so we can save the lives that are now being lost unnecessarily. If I remove it, it's nothing. Victimization, really victimization. So there is no fear. If a person fear when there is none, it will be a problem. Okay, what is something like that?
They will say that we call them to science. They are saying that.
No,
I'm just telling you.
they said they don't like this thing. I remove it. It's no protection. Don't worry yourself. When the problem finishes, when the problem comes, they should not push you to come and beg you.
That is what I'm saying.
Because you are not seeing any change. And what? Biscuit and what? If they want to continue on strike, they will go on strike. No labor instrument. The one they said, the same thing that went to, yes, definitely to the laws.
So what we call the big parties within the man and explain to why they will not put it to action.
The thing they said, the article said that clause without prejudice means that no work, I will have removed that one. But if you tell me to go and write it, there's nothing like no work, there's nothing more. No, go and tell them. No, we won't do that. No. They are wasted enough of my time. And there are no papers like here. It's only now that he's saying that. It doesn't affect the direction.
For my boy, so you come here often. Why are you doing it? And then, this is it. I'm telling you, this is what we normally do. If I say it outside, we normally probably do it. If you write anywhere, just from where you're from. So, if you write it anywhere, you have to protect it.
It has not been written. In the history of this place.
So, you need to see them. Such things there's no
Because there's one that sending it to drop.
Yes.
And for drop it, what pedestal will I use to write to president? I will have no pedestal.
It's also some part of it that Sundays.
I'm going to put your hand on the minister's plate.
Will you come with us?
Yes, I will.
I have to bring them.
I'm the leader.
Are you coming? One second, are you coming?
Thank you. What is the subject?
You can't put transcription on the
What you signed? Why did you sign?
No, this the one I signed. I told you to read the copy behind.
Look, they are the
This
same
one should be careful. This one
Secretary General.
You have to be
That's the secretary of the foolish.
You have to be careful after
No, but I mean, I give you.
Okay, you have both signed. So you don't need to make any noise about it. You have made observation. And instead of you I will soon be signing. You have made an observation.
You make an observation, and I can explain to you that these were the things that were supposed to have taken together.
It was probably brought in
I'm
error.
sorry, I don't mean to offend you. I just said I'm sorry. I see this is wrong. Sorry.
No. Yeah. No. You are not giving for this. Excuse me. No, this one.
The one that doesn't sign.
I know, I agree. I'm sorry, I saw it. No, don't do that. No, this is I don't need we are all friends.
And this one that are you thinking of moving them for your side?
We have reached consensus on our 12 points. And we've drawn up agreements on them. In fact, the 11 issues. When you came earlier on, I don't know whether I mentioned that the state government's matter was one of them. So we have also captured it in the 11 points we have done. All the people here are stakeholders in the health industry and health workers on this side, and these are government side that have to do with the issues raised. And we have tackled the issue satisfactorily. The government side have put their pen on paper to the MoU, and also the NMA and the associations comprising of Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, Medical and Dental Consultants of Nigeria, NARD, resident doctors, and the doctors in academics, Met Saban. NARD pleaded with us to consult their members on an item which they want us to include in the conditions of the memorandum of understanding. We have inserted our clause that nobody will be victimized for any activity connected with, for or against participating in the industrial action. So we allow NARD to conclude their consultation. This is not the first time we allow unions to go back to their people with a document and then append their signature. But overall, we are all satisfied that we have done justice to all the issues. All of us, including NARD, everybody. We have set timelines too for the actualization of some of the matters to be resolved. So we will exchange the MoU, but we want to give NARD the opportunity to do their own consultation and get back to us before we exchange the documents. Every other person here signed. We're all in agreement that we have done the needful. So this is what I can say for now. Thank you very much. The meeting did not discuss the issue of no work, no pay. We cannot. It's one of the things in the industrial court. It's one of the matters for resolution in the industrial court. But the meeting agreed that NMA should persuade or work with the Ministry of Health and NARD so that the matter before the court can be withdrawn for alternative dispute resolution, as always advocated by National Industrial Court. So when the matter comes out from the, it comes out with that aspect of the labor law. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.